Hello and welcome to the video guide for WTii's Unit Tester. This map is for Warcraft 3 and it allows you to basically test everything that is in Warcraft 3, specifically for micro and macro purposes, and whatever else your imagination can conjure up. Okay, so I will be trying to keep this guide nice, quick and snappy, so feel free to pause the video if you need to, or go back at any time in case I went a bit too fast for you, because this is going to involve a lot of stuff to cover. So let's begin with this whole area over here. I've kept all the buildings that you're going to be pretty much building your units from and training your upgrades and research or whatever it might be in this compact area, as you can see. So everything is here. If you want to build it, it's here basically. So we're going to go to the top left and we're going to start off with, what's this? It's an altar. So you can build heroes. So from left to right we have human altar, the orc altar, the night elf altar, the undead altar, the naga altar and the tavern. So you have one for each race basically, and from top to bottom you have the buildings for heroes, units and researches. So each top to bottom basically is the race equivalent, so orc, night elf and so on. So if we have a look here, you got the standard human heroes that you can build from a melee map, and I say melee map as in 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 and 3 for all, your typical Blizzard online multiplayer game. So in these two buildings you have like the special heroes, which are sort of added bonuses I've just chucked in there because I can. They're more from the campaign and they're not necessary at all, but they're just there because I can. So if you want to build them, go for it and try them out. Here we have the units. So this is all the units that you can build from a normal melee map. Then we have the special units, which are again from the campaign. So if it's got the name special by it, it's not vital, it's just basically a bonus. Now we've got the summoned units. So the typical summoned units that a human would have in this building are the water elementals and the phoenix from the blood mage. And then two important buildings underneath are the tech. This covers all of the tech that the humans can have, and so on. You have it with the other races, as explained before. Just one thing to bear in mind, that if you do upgrade anything, you might want to save the game before you do it, because the upgrades are permanent. You can't basically go back on yourself unless you restart the game or load before you actually do it. So that's that covered. If we look at the middle, that's all the neutral as well. And then we go to the more standard neutral stuff. So the shops, the laboratories, you can get yourself sappers, zeppelins, shredders. You can get yourself all the dragons and the critters that are available, should you want them. It's all there. And then we move on and we have the mercenary camps. Now these mercenary camps are accurate to the mercenary camps that you will be finding in the actual melee maps. So for example, mercenary camp Ashen Vale is from Dragon Falls, which is a 4 versus 4 map, and if you wanted to practice on that map, or you were struggling on that map and you wanted to see what the Merks were like, you can play around with these. You'll get a specific idea of which Merks belong to which map type from here. This represents the tile set, as it were, Black Citadel or Ice Crown Glacier, Sunken Ruins, that'd be Murgle Oasis and things like that. And then if we move on to the right, we have what is essentially a unit. You can see here trolls. So the idea is that this troll that you pick on this building, it will be a representation of what you can buy from this building. So trolls makes sense, right? There'll be a description here as well, dark and ice trolls. And as you build, basically it's all in order. So you start from the lowest level unit first, which is the dark troll, and move onwards through those trolls, those dark trolls, onto the strongest dark troll there is, which is the dark troll warlord, and then move on to the ice, and so forth. It's very straightforward, and these model files, the gnolls, as you can see, are a rough guide of what you're going to expect, but there will also be other units, because if I did basically do a model file and a building for every specific unit type, the list would just, you know, the lines would just go on over here. I wanted to keep it all in one great big area, so that's great. So you can just play around. All it takes is a few clicks, and as you can see, you can basically build everything. And this building here is called the Practical Units building. This is the one that gives you a lot of control over the map and what you're going to be doing with it and the scenarios that you can create. So we're going to go through the units in this one. We have the foe fighter and the TKer. Now the foe fighter is green and the TKer is red. Now foe fighter is basically designed to kill any nearby enemy units, and the TKer is designed to kill any nearby allied units. So these are essentially suicide units. They're a quick and easy way to kill any units nearby that are going to cause you hassle or just get in the way. You want to clear. You've built like 20 knights and 16 priests. You want to get rid of them easily. You just bring the foe fighter in, or no, the TKer, sorry, because they're on your side. Activate immolation, or if they're magic immune units, activate the lightning force, and so forth for foe fighter. Foe fighter will kill the enemy ones, TK will kill your ally ones. So we move on to the all-round nice guy. This guy, he's pretty nice. He's all-roundly nice. So he can build a fountain of health, a fountain of mana, and a super-powered fountain of truth, which is basically a huge combination of fountain of health and fountain of mana times 100. And then you can build the tavern if you really want to. The original goblin merchant, goblin laboratory, and the goblin shipyard, which I've built a little area over here, which is just dark, shallow, deep water, shallow water that you can play around with. If you really want to play around with the boats, it's up to you. But you won't find those in the melee maps. But the fountain of health and fountain of mana could come in handy later on, and I'll show you why later. Now, we have the Ye Olde Shoppy Builder 1 and Ye Olde Shoppy Builder 2. That's if you want to build them, the shops further down here, and I will show you where the shops are. They are actually located right near the spawn point. Whenever you build a unit from this area, it spawns over here, and you can go straight over to the shops or to various other areas on the map that I've used for testing. So if you go through these shops, as you can see, there's a whole ton of items, essentially almost every item in the game that is at least worth buying. And then you've got the original Goblin Merchant, in case you wanted to see what it is that you actually can buy from a melee map, and the original Goblin Laboratory. But otherwise, you might get some bonus ones here, like you can buy all the tomes of agility, so you could superpower a hero if you really wanted to, and test out what it would be like if it had 6,000 agility. Go nuts. The next one is the test dummy, and the test dummier. Well, what do these guys do? These are exactly what they say. They're the test dummies. The idea is that you basically test out your damage on them. So if you're trying out, I'll say, for example, a specific thing like a level 5 Blade Master with level 3 critical strike, and you just want to see how much damage he does over 20 seconds, and you time it, and you just make him attack this guy, and then you can stop at 20 seconds and see how much damage has been done to the test dummy. If he does more than 10,000 health, well, that's what this guy is for. He's got 100,000 health. There's not many units you're going to have in a normal environment where they're going to die instantly with 100,000 health. So I didn't want to get too carried away and have like a test dummy that's like invincible and all of that, because the whole idea is you're supposed to be somewhat realistic, and you will see the actual damage you are taking. My budgie is getting really jealous right now, honestly. So, as you might notice as well, the test dummies have inventories. So they're like the hero inventory, so you could also put items on them if you wanted, anything specific that might help boost them. Maybe talisman, if I can find it, but it's there. Talisman of evasion. Where are you? I'm sure you're there somewhere. Just not showing your face. That's all it is. Am I blind? There it is. There it is. I was expecting it to look yellow for some reason. Well, that's all those basically covered. And as I said, the oldie shoppy builders can basically build the shops. But if you wanted to play around in this area, then you can just build shops closer by rather than having to come up here all the time. Now, as I said, anything you build from this area spawns over here. Now, for example, if you travel to this region here, this will spawn you further down here. And I'm going to cover this area soon, because it's the best area, and I'm going to save the best to last. Now if you take this little fella over here and take him to this section on the right here, where does he turn up? Well, I'll tell you where he turns up. He turns up in Lost Temple. Yes, to the right there is Lost Temple. in all its glory. So if you really wanted to play on a proper map that does belong to the Blizzard Media Map pool, then you can do. But you don't have to. I just threw that in there because I thought it might be nice if people wanted to test things out on the actual normal media map. But I have created a map that has various examples of stuff you would find in media maps, or a way to practice media map stuff. So I will go over the commands next, I think. Yes, I will go over the commands next. So if you go to F9, which is quests, here we have this bit, which is unit tester guide. In here will be basically a link to the latest updated version of this map. And if you are after the latest official update of this map, then you will find that in the video description of this video. Now this, as far as I'm concerned, is a community map. I've created this and I want people to go nuts with it. Do what they want. If you want to change things in the map, you do that. But if you want the official version, you will find it on my page, basically. So just in case you mess up the map, you can always get the original back, or the latest updated version. So yeah, you can do what you like with the map. You can spread it out, do what you like. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. This is all for practicing anyway. So we go to commands. Now these should be in the video description as well, so you might want to copy and paste these and then print them off. I know I say that, but it's not that much effort, and once it's down, because it will be a lot easier to get used to these commands and use them if they're in front of you, rather than having to constantly press F9 to bring up this list that you can barely see. As you can see, it's not exactly very easy. But the commands are very straightforward and they're incredibly abbreviated. The reason for that is because if you're going to get used to them and use them on a regular basis, you're going to want them as short as possible. You don't want to type out a whole sentence every time you want to do something. So, for example, let's start off with, say, the camera. So, C1, that's your standard gameplay camera angle. C2, slightly larger. C3, even larger. C4, as large as it gets. Or I could possibly go larger, but you're going to get some weird buggy graphics issues if I don't go any further back than that. So this allows you to see a little bit more. If you want to see more of the battlefield, if you want to create, as you can see, there's 300 food up here, so if you wanted to create a 300 food versus 300 food battle, you can do, or even more than that perhaps. So there's, you know, the choice is up to you really. Now if we look down a bit, I've got a little micro area here. It's only a tiny little thing I put in. You can use the trees to kite mobs around if you want to. There's a little section here to sort of like block the vision of enemy units. I've got a bridge here if you want to reenact a bridge battle for whatever reason that is. I've got this little shallow water bit which you can test basically. Say for example, you know when ranged units attack uphill, they have a chance to miss. Well, you could test that out if you wanted to. You could have 4 archers down here, 4 archers up there, and see how much damage, you know, the archers up the hill take. By the time the archers down the hill will die, because the ones down the hill will die first. And the same goes for this little area. This is basically one great big hill. It gets onto lowish ground, then higher ground, and then back to lowish ground, and then ultimate low ground. So this area is actually for something else as well, which I will explain in a second. In fact, I'll throw that trigger in there now. No, what I will do is I'll cover this. Now, what you can do, if I go back to normal camera, C1, so camera 1, think of it that way. Okay, so we have this fella here, and he's your archmage. But what happens if I type .2? Huh, he's now player 2's archmage. If I select him again and type .3, it's Teal's archmage. And the same again for .4, which player 4. This is really a one-player map, but you are free to play this with your friends because you can have up to 4 players in the game. So, even though these are all Reds buildings, you can, if you really want to, .2 on the building, and then your friend can go build a human hero. So you need some communication between each other, but you can work it out if you really want to. So the option is there, as you can see. You can switch, and you can also turn units to hostile, which is a really important one for testing micro. It's one of the most important ones, so that's a really key trigger, remember that one. But if you want the unit again, press dot 1 and he's yours again. Now I'm just going to bring this over here. This is kind of like a tower tester. If you wanted to test, for example, how well 4 arcane towers do against 1 archmage, for whatever reason, or if you're trying to test out tower rushes and you want to see how well 3 guard towers do against a demon hunter with a level 1 evasion and see how much damage he can do, just so you can perfect your build, you have the option here. So for example, you have to take units into this region here, press dot 8, that turns it into pink, so player 8 basically is pink, and then if you go, oh hang on a second, let me just upgrade those to guard towers.
Upgrade complete.
Dot 8A, he will attack move down all the way to here. So any towers that you set up here or anything you put in the way, they're going to attack move. So you have that chance. I mean, it only works with player 8 pink. So he's going to go for the units first and maybe the towers. He's going to do a terrible job, as you can see. But the whole idea is you essentially just get a computer, artificial intelligence, just to attack move down, and then you can test how well you can handle it. Obviously you could give them a load of units, but this is one thing I might need help with, a few of you professional map makers basically. There's a few triggers that are a bit tricksy, and one of them is this one, basically converting the units. If you convert say about 11 or more, as you press, you convert them to pink, which is fine, but then when you go to dot 8A and attack move, it really lags because it's basically giving the command to each unit all at the same time, and it can possibly crash your game. So I'd be really careful when using this one and avoid it if you haven't got a very strong computer, because it's going to crash it. So if anyone's got an easy fix for that, then let me know. Now that's that area, that's all of that covered. You've got your C area over here that you can play around with, and you've got a gigantic bit down here. I mean, like I say, you can take this map, you can do what you want with it. You can create your own little areas and practice on them. So we do have other triggers. For example, if I get myself an archmage again and I decide that I want to level him up, I can either do dot L, or I can just level him up to 10 or maximum level, dot level. So that way you can straight away play around with him, and you can take him to the right and buy various items and see how well he does. You can test out whether 3 slippers of, oh no, sorry, 3 mantles of intelligence and 3 gloves of haste are better than 6 mantles of intelligence. I already know the answers, but this is something that you can find out for yourself. All these little questions that you are wondering that you can't really test in an actual game, you can do here within seconds. So that's the idea of that. So that's that hero sorted. One thing I will just quickly mention is, this is something I came across and it's a very handy feature, is it's a pain, right? If I go nuts on the heroes, if I want to try 3 heroes or maybe more, I've got all these heroes up here. Oh dear, that's a lot of them, isn't it? So say for example I've played around with these and I've had my fun, but I want to start with 3 new fresh heroes. But I don't want them, if I create any more heroes you won't see them. I want 3 new fresh heroes up here and I want to see them clearly. Well, all you do is you select all of these units, dot H, turns them all to hostile, gets rid of them. Get your foe fighter, you can either auto attack them to death or just activate immolation and insta kill everything nearby. And there you go. I could maybe try out a Shadow Hunter, a Warden, and a Death Knight. And so on and so on. You get the idea. You can test out anything, any combination you want to do. So I can also kill my own units or any selected units by typing .k. But as you can see, the problem with that when it comes to heroes is you have this annoying UI. So the only way to get rid of that is to respawn those from the your altar or tavern. But this is a specific tavern for, if you've gone absolutely crazy and built like a million heroes, they will fill up all these slots and you might not be able to find a specific hero. Well, this one has at least 12 slots. Well, 12 slots basically, exactly. So once again we turn these to hostile, .h, activate immolation, they get killed and you're fresh and good to go again. So that is that. We've done the set players, so remember that you can turn 1 player, so you can turn this guy to player 2 and I can fight against him, or just turn him back into my own unit. Set vision on is .von, that's currently on at the moment, but if I want to take away everything that I can see that you would normally see in a normal game, then you just type .v off, so that stands for vision off. So like I say, a lot of this is abbreviated. It might look like jargon, but it's going to make your life a lot easier if you're going to play around with this a lot more often. Now, this is an awkward trigger. This is another one that map makers might be able to help me out with. Is basically Aeon, which is set ally vision on, so it grants the vision of allies. I mean, if that's that. Hang on a second. I need to take this guy out, otherwise he's going to instant kill. But if I take that guy over there, I don't think this trigger works, but I want it to work. So if anyone can help me out, because this is map. The whole idea is that this map can be updated. If people have some really good ideas that they want to add and, you know, put onto this map, then by all means get in contact and I'll see if I can do it. Hopefully someone actually has the proper trigger for it. Isn't that right, Joey? So if we do Aeon, oh, well, hang on a second. So player 2, but player 2 is not an ally, so I need a way to turn player 2 into an ally, but I don't have a trigger for that. But I can set enemy vision on, but once again I don't think this works. Because I've got the whole map viewed, I can see him anyway, so if I turn off my vision, I still can't see him, even though that trigger is supposed to give me vision of enemies. But that's for someone to basically get in contact with me and find out. Now, a really straightforward trigger is .n, which is basically going to give you all the money and gold that you can possibly have, or .m, which will take it all away. So if you wanted to, say for example, find out how much a typical ogre, say for example this creep camp gives you in gold, then just simply type .m and then kill it, and then you can find out exactly how much money you will get from those kind of mercs in total. So that's a good way to test things like that out, and that can go, you can create any merc combination you want, and you can also reenact actual mercs from proper Blizzard maps. Now we can change time, so we do T0 or T24, depends which you prefer to type. They both come up with the same time, which is 2400. So basically, you know, 12 AM. So that's the start of that. But if you type .T6, it's suddenly daytime. .T12, noon. .T18, evening. And then back to .24 or .T0. So you can play around with time if you want. So that's good for practicing things against invisible creeps or whatever have you that are shadow milled. And then that's pretty much a lot of the triggers dealt with. So now I've covered a lot of those triggers, I can give you an example. If you wanted to reenact, as it were, a typical creep camp from one of the Blizzard maps, this isn't the exact replica of it, but it would look a little bit like this, for example. So we get ourselves a red. Oh, hang on a second, I'm out of gold. There we go, I've got all the gold. We've got Red Drake, have probably a couple of trolls, forest trolls. So I'll have a troll priest, a berserker, and definitely a couple of gnolls, I think. So a gnoll, warden, and that will do, to be honest. So these look a bit odd on their own, but I want to find out, can I creep those with, say for example, 2 abominations and 2 gargs and a paladin? That would look a bit odd, wouldn't it? Say for example a dreadlord. But that's not it. I'm not done yet. I want to find out the realness of these creeps, because sometimes you have creeps like this, and what are they by? Oh, that's right, I'll tell you what they're by. They are standing by Fountain of Health. So what I was talking to you about earlier, there you go. You can create a Fountain of Health. If you don't want it anymore, .k, it works for anything. And it even works for these invulnerable buildings in here, so I suggest you don't use it when highlighting these, because you can't get them back unless you restart the map. So yes, you can build Fountain of Health or Fountain of Mana, and you can put various creeps next to it and try it out that way. How you would do, basically. So we'll just say that's a typical creep camp that you might encounter in a Blizzard map. Highlight all of those. .h for hostile, or .2, because you can still fight against 2, but get used to doing .h because it treats them as proper hostiles. And yes, I messed up there. These guys are pretty angry, so be careful. They're super powerful units. Anything that you build from the practical units, just kill those, honestly. Right, okay, so I need to reenact that. That did not go exactly as planned. Might end up getting different units this time round. I need the red trait. Oh, what now? Behave! Behave! You can actually kill everything. Let's just start over again. There we go. Taken care of. Yes, that's right, Joey. Taken care of. Shadow Troll Priest, Berserker, Drake, and a Knoll Assassin. I'd say, well, yeah, Warden. So we'll do the Assassin as well. Bring those over once again. Now, bear in mind that you want to put them into position before you turn them into hostile. So make sure they're facing the right way if you're really particular. Something like that. So they're ready to face you. Turn them into hostile. This time they're going to behave. I've got my army here. I'm going to level them up to level 3. That'll do. I don't care too much, just for example. Don't know why I got this Forest Troll Berserker. I don't want you. Right. Okay. So we're going to move in and treat this like a normal camp. What on earth? Leave that test dummy alone. And I'm actually going to lose. Because I'm getting too distracted by the test dummy. Should be able to take care of this. It does look a little bit messy, but this is what it would look like in-game. Yes, Joey, that's right. There we go. And we finish that off. As you can see, the Fountain of Health is acting exactly like a normal Fountain of Health would do. It doesn't heal you up instantly like the Fountain of Truth will do. And that was something else I actually did neglect to remember to mention, is if you were after instant health, you don't necessarily have to build a Fountain of Truth everywhere you go. This little guy, the all-round nice guy, has a healing aura and mana aura, so he will instantly heal you. Okay, now the next thing I wanted to cover was actually still on the trigger common command list, and this is actually very cool. So if we say we've got this guy over here, so I can test it on him. Now this is concerning heroes. Now level up to level 10. Right, okay, we've got all my abilities. So one thing I'm just going to do, actually, just to test this out. Right, now this only works for specifically selected units. You can highlight a whole ton, but it will only work for one of them. If anyone has a way to make these triggers as follows, if you listen, the next 3 triggers coming up, basically, work for all selected units, then let me know. But essentially, you can attack, move your own unit. So he's losing his health, and I can't be asked to take him back to the Fountain of Health or bring my all-round nice guy. So if I type dot semicolon, he gets all of his health back to 100% instantly. And the same goes for mana. So if I do dot apostrophe, I believe it is, he'll get all his mana back. Now, if I'm too lazy to type out 2 commands like that, then I can just do dot hash, and that will give me all of my health back and all of my mana, or it should do at least. If not, I'll just have to put that trigger in, because that one should work, but that didn't. Oh dear. But I guess that's obviously missing one little trigger. Unless I have that typed in wrong. Where are we? Oh no, I understand. That's it. I'm looking back at my list. Okay, let's do that bit again. That isn't actually wrong. I said it wrong. Okay, so we've lost mana, we've lost health. Dot is the command. That gives you everything back. Everything back. So what I needed to mention before that was something that would have followed on. But anyway, watch this, okay? The Inferno's got a hell of a long cooldown. So if I go use that, I've got ages to wait. Or do I? If I type dot hash, that was what I should have done the first time around, instantly resets your cooldowns. So as you get the idea. You can just go nuts with this. And obviously his mana's quite low, but then if I want to have to keep typing out different commands to play around with this, it's going to get a bit pesky. So this is what the dot dot is for. Dot dot refreshes your health to 100%, your mana to 100%, and it resets ability cooldowns. So I can just go crazy. As you can get the idea. So this works with all heroes and probably units. Anything that has abilities, it resets the cooldown completely. So you can go nuts. It looks really funny on a Mountain King when you basically make him Stormbolt over and over and over. But you have to have quick fingers to do it. So that's all the triggers covered. All the commands. So basically all the commands are text commands. So get used to them. Dot semicolon, dot that. It might seem a bit weird at first, but you get the hang of it. Now, moving on to the last but not least. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. This is by far the most important one. And I really like this. The creep simulator. So each of these 7 buildings can create typical creeps that you would find on a Blizzard melee map. All of the creeps that you can create from these buildings are basically copies of creeps that you would find in Knollwood or Dragon Falls or Full Scale Assault. Basically there's a whole variety of maps, and I've taken what I thought were the most interesting, unique creeps to represent an accurate test of what you can do against them. So obviously you'll be using this area for micro. You want to see how well you can creep them, what you can creep them with, a warden, 2 archers, or a warden and 10 shims. It's up to you. You throw in what you want and how difficult you want the creeps to be. So we start with average green creeps. So bear in mind that you can kill anything within this region. Gets killed if you use this trigger, which is G. That will kill anything. So for example, if I spawn gnolls, as you can see, they spawn up as they would be on a typical map. They've all been programmed in, and I can kill them instantly, just like that. I can do 2 lots, I can do 16 lots if I really wanted to, or I could mix and match them. Trolls, sea turtles, have everything together. Now you might wonder where the brigand group went. Oh yeah, if you type .t6, it's daytime, and you can see them because they're shadow melded. So you can mix and match all these units, and the idea is that from Q to U, so basically left all the way to the bottom right, is what I would deem the difficulty ratio. So the Murlocs, which they're actually Murgles, but that can be changed, are the easiest creeps, and the nasty gnolls are the tougher ones out of your green. Even though these are orange, don't take that too much to heart. I mean, generally the creeps that are in the orange cams are orange, you know, they're orange difficulty, then there's green difficulty. They represent what they are, but I've added in what I think is the accurate detail difficulty for them. So if you have a look, for example, the orange average, so this is the first one you come across. That's pretty easy. That's a bit harder. Now we go to the orange very tough. You get the idea. So it's all in reflection of how difficult I rate it. You may disagree with some of these. You may think that, for example, the Ogre Magi and Troll group is tougher than the Centaur group. You may be right, but they're all within the same region, so you can get a fair, accurate sense of difficulty when you're fighting against these creep camps. And in case you're wondering what the hardest one I thought was from the maps, or at least one that I thought was realistic enough for you to fight against, was basically from Full Scale Assault, which is the middle area. It's the 2 blue dragons and the, you know, weaker creeps around it. It's not impossible, but it's a realistically tough red group, which is what it's supposed to represent. But if you want to make it a bit harder, then go nuts. So you can get rid of all of these. And if you're still not satisfied from that, there's 42 different creep combinations. It wasn't as easy as copy and pasting them from the map. I had to program them all in with the regions and everything, but they are an accurate reflection of what you would find. So that's Murgle Oasis, That's sunken ruins area. So that's Murgle Oasis again. Actually, this is Market Square, and basically goes on and on. In fact, this one is Last Man Standing, so you can go on and on and on. But anyway, if you weren't satisfied with that, you can obviously create your own creep combinations. So if you really wanted to, you could try fighting against this. And all you have to do is naturally type .h, and they become hostile. And then they're going to cane in my guard towers, because I'm not going to stand a chance against all of that. But you get the idea. You can test anything and everything on this map, with a few exceptions, but basically everything. So I'm pretty sure I have covered everything. If there are any questions that I haven't covered from this guide, then feel free to get in contact, and like I say, you will find the latest official updates to this map, which there will be some, because some of the tool tips are missing from some of these things. That are, the little things, basically the map is totally done, but there's a few things that need to be sort of polished, and that's going to take a long time. So I wanted to get this map out to you so you can test it for yourself and have fun and play around with it, and use it for micro, use it for playing against your friends, different army combinations. Do what you want with it, it's yours. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Woody. Please subscribe, like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my Facebook or Twitter.